Hey, Mike, what's a professional way to say that when we watch a badge cam that we just think that guy?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's research-informed badge cam lesson here at Active Self-Protection. I'm your host, John Correa.
I'm your co-host, Mike Williver. Today's video comes to us from San Jose, California.
Lucky Gunner is my recommended trusted provider of freedom seeds for range or defensive use. In stock, good prices, and rocket fast shipping are why I go back again and again. Because of new guidelines, I can't link their site or say it, but you're smart and you can find it with a simple Google search. Stick it to the man by paying them a visit today.
There's a crazy amount of context to this one to make it make sense. So this one started with a carjacking at a Chevy dealership that he stole a Corvette and then used it twice that day in armed robberies at convenience stores. And then the next day did a couple of more armed robberies at a couple of liquor stores. Apparently the news stories are all linked in the description. Then the real-time crime identifier video system in the area identified the stolen Corvette. They went chasing him for a while. That car got disabled. So then he carjacked a more different car, led deputies and California Highway Patrol officers on a long chase, was shooting at deputies, shooting at CHP officers. It gets all the way up from Hollister to San Jose, which is a little bit of a drive. And then right here, he is going to get out again and try to carjack somebody when the San Jose Police Department ain't going to have it no more. Let's listen in. We have both the helicopter video and a bystander cell phone video.
Northbound, 1182 Notre Dame, but he's still, nope, he's got a foot bail bailing. He's going to be trying to 215 another vehicle. San Jose's, you're going to be unit 1196 with them right now. Shots fired, shots fired. Code 3 fill, code 3 fill. He's trying to 215 the patrol car. He's out of the patrol car now, he's going to be running, he's trying to carjack another vehicle. Oh! Shots fired, shots fired. One of your officers, Copy, shots fired.
Oh my god, he's shooting the cop. Fuck, he's running. Oh my god, you're... Fuck. And he's still shooting. Oh my god. I'm shaking, guys. Fuck this.
The sergeant here, who is identified as Sergeant Silva, was shot in the head and stayed in the fight. It apparently fractured his skull, but he stayed in the fight. He was initially listed in the hospital as in critical condition, but then a couple days later was released from the hospital and is recovering at home. We, of course, wish Sergeant Silva a full and complete recovery. As for our carjacker, well, I'm sure you could recognize here that if the running over by the patrol cruiser didn't get him, all of the bullets did. And yes, he took the asphalt temperature challenge. Yeah, okay, Mike, listen, we do professional analysis around here at Active Self-Protection, and I'm just going to say here on the big channel, if bad language offends you, muff me real quick, right? Because seriously, fuck that guy.
Look, you put yourself in that position, my friend. You're gonna turn into like the worst game of Crossy Road ever seen. Like, whatever, dude. You try to carjack 80 million people, this is what's gonna happen.
But I really think there's some lessons here, both for police officers and for private citizens on this one, Mike, because of course, you know, nobody's expecting a carjacker to just roll up on them. And yet you see a dude that's rolling next to you there and shows up with a gun in his hand. I don't think the answer is to have a gunfight with him here, but the answer is to use that escape route that's right in front of you and the gas pedal to escape this problem quickly.
I think the average person, not you, dear viewer, who watches active self-protection, who is always prepared at all times for any contingency, but the average person out there in the United States of America isn't expecting to see this, so it would take their OODA loop just a moment to connect the dots and go, oh no, I'm in danger, and then connect the dots and go, there's an escape route, let me take it. However, you, dear viewer, to this video are switched on and paying attention. So if this is you and you see that this is your frame of reference, oh, there's a guy coming towards me with a gun or a rifle, and I have an escape route, take that escape route. Get the heck out of Dodge as quickly as you possibly can.
Remember, escaping a problem, especially in a car, right? Keep your doors locked, keep your windows up at all times. Really, I know, I get it. When the weather's nice, you want to leave your windows down. It's the middle of winter. The weather's not nice right now. But get out of the danger zone if at all possible. Now, the sergeant who shows up at first here, Mike, I actually really like that he tried to use the cruiser here, even if he piles into the back of the stolen car. I think using the cruiser was an excellent choice here. It just so happened that the guy saw him too early and ended up moving. But that doesn't negate the fact that that was a high probability use of force that the sergeant was trying here.
Yeah, I want to take a little bit of credit, not me, but us here at Active Self-Protection, for the recent uptick in law enforcement officers in the United States using their cars to try to solve problems. And I think it's a great trend. We didn't see that so much previously, but now it's happening more and more often. And I like it because it is way better if you can end a gunfight before the gunfight starts. And what I mean by that is end the gunfight by hitting the bad guy with a 3,000-pound bullet under your right foot, rather than getting out and taking a chance with small bullets in a big world. I think it's a better option. He tried that. The guy moved out of the way in time, to not get hit by the car. Oh, well, we all know what happens later, foreboding. So whatever, all's well that ends well.
And recognize that, listen, in order to do that, you want to have your seatbelt on nice and tight, right? So it's going to take you a while to get out of the cruiser. It's one of those things. Remember, officers, you're far more likely to get in a motor vehicle accident than you are in a gunfight, right? So wear your seatbelt all the time. Don't get your seatbelt off even when you think, I get it. You're going to want to take that off as you're about to get out of the car. But certainly if you're going to use the patrol cruiser as a weapon, do not get your seatbelt off, okay? But then that means you got to stay on the prowl, that if you miss, what are you going to do? Or if it doesn't end the problem, how are you going to solve that? Our sergeant decides to stop the car and get out. That's a perfectly recognizable, good solution as well. And I'm not busting on him for it a bit. But I will say that if you do, you need to get out as the hunter and not the rabbit. That he kind of got out here, and then as soon as he sees the guy, I think the guy starts shooting at him. So he then retreats back into his patrol cruiser and gets stuck in his A-pillar. And that gives our bad guy some opportunity to get the jump on our sergeant. Now, thankfully, he snuggles up against the car too. So there's kind of a 50-50 going on here, but I think this is where our sergeant is shot. And it's a good reminder that, listen, you have to have the confidence in your skills that you are the baddest dude on scene or the baddest chick on scene. And I'm going to be the hunter, not the hunted here. And I am going to make you regret making me do this because I'm better at it than you. And otherwise, he kind of got stuck inside that A-pillar in the door there, and that really left him not a lot of options.
I'll be honest, John, chances are, look, there's a script that runs in your head as a cop, which is I show up, the pursuit ends, bad guy runs away, right? That happens 9,999 times out of 10,000 times. It happens almost every time. Bad guy turns, runs away. So we're not always ready for the bad guy to turn and engage and aggress towards us, right, as the police. But you got to be ready for that to happen, especially if you know this guy's, done a bunch of crimes. He's probably tweaked to the gills or coked out of his mind. He's all gacked up, and he's just out there running around like an absolute menace. Be ready for that bad guy to come at you and not run away and not be afraid of your gun. I don't think this sergeant did anything wrong here. I think he did the best under the circumstances, and considering the fact that he ended up getting shot in the head, and I think this is about where that happened, by the way, and stayed in the fight means he's an incredible badass and perhaps the new commander of the Special Pants Brigade. So reach out to me for that patch if you are watching, sir.
I mean, he's certainly in the command staff of the Special Pants Brigade. There's no question about that. For staying in the fight, shot in the head, when we could certainly expect him to be out of the fight at that point. And then he really does. It's almost like it flips a switch on him here, Mike, that he decides, nope, we are going full tilt boogie here, because now he starts chasing the guy around his car. And one thing that I just want to point out here that I really love that the sergeant did is you look at the distances between them and the car. You notice the bad guy is sucked up against the vehicle, and our sergeant has backed off of it a little bit, and that will give him such better angles of visibility, such better angles of assault here. So that was, I mean, just fantastic tactics here. And did he do that because it was his training or because it was intuitive to him to get a little bit of distance? And if you're really good with your pistol, remember, the bad guy probably isn't. If you're really good with your pistol, that distance is a force advantage to you because you can hit at that distance and the bad guy probably can't.
Yeah, so bear in mind as well, dear viewer, that the bad guy here doesn't care who he shoots in the process of trying to get away, in the process of trying to shoot this police sergeant, which he did successfully at least one time. Bear in mind, this patrol officer, this sergeant, has to be careful. He has to watch his backstop. He has to do things the bad guy doesn't have to do. He has to abide by rules the bad guy isn't even aware exist. Like, watch your backstop. Don't shoot innocent third parties. Be careful. There could be a kid in that car. There could be someone in that car. There could be someone in that office, behind that window, whatever. He's got to think about those things, whereas the bad guy doesn't. As far as his cover goes, man, I think most agencies don't stress enough staying off of cover. The temptation is to want to snuggle right up to it and get nice and comfy. That feels better. However, it's not safer to do. It's better to be backed up off it. It gives you more options, and I think I'm going to guess this sergeant probably has some pretty above average training, and that's why he is in the position he's in right there, John.
Well, certainly his mindset shows that he's gone above and beyond his department mandated training. Tactics like this tell me that's probably likely as well. Now, I know, okay, our bad guy's going to try to jump in the patrol cruiser and run off with it. I don't know why he decided not to do that. I don't know if the sergeant grabbed his keys as he ran out the door. That would be like some very high level stuff where he's like, oh, shoot, there aren't any keys in this. Maybe he did. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, he decides to bail out of that one and run off and try to carjack another person. Now, again, I just want to wait a minute here that as a private citizen, it looks like this private citizen in their vehicle thought about kind of getting out of the area of operation. They look like they started going around somebody and then stopped. Use that accelerator pedal. Although I want to say, of course, if that citizen there is armed, as that guy comes up to the car, he could absolutely be justified. He would be 100% beyond a doubt justified to fill that guy full of lead and could have stopped this as well. So if one of these citizens had seen these guys and decided, you know what, I'm going to put him under my wheels, I think that would have been fine too.
Yeah, and I do wonder here. I've seen this video a few times now. Everyone that I know sent it to me when it became public. I do wonder if this driver doesn't see that 4,000-pound tower or whatever it is already on its way to come run this guy over. That's a possibility. But what John said holds true. It doesn't matter where you live now. In a post-Bruin world, ideally, you should be able to get a CCW permit no matter where you live. And the more people, the more good, sane, sober, moral, prudent people have those, the safer I feel about society in general. So listen, we're not victim blaming anyone here, but if you are in California, now is the time to get your CCW and be able to carry a loaded firearm with you. And hopefully, because if these police weren't around, this is just you getting carjacked, it'd be nice to have some way to defend yourself.
Yeah, and I think Mike covered that really well, and I don't have anything more to add to that. Now, let's think about the next sergeant, or then I don't know if it's a sergeant, but the next patrol cruiser who comes over and decides, you know what? No, I'm going to continue to use the car. And again, I really think this is very good. The guy doesn't have anywhere to go this time at all. It looks like he laid down to me to try to like get away from these guys. And instead, he ends up having an absolute yard sale. And I just want to stop here and look at this and say, you know, we say this all the time that stupid should hurt. And this guy isn't stupid. He's evil. All right. So he's making actively evil decisions to be a carjacker and an armed robber. And, sometimes people get mad at me, Mike, because I say that I'm not very compassionate on some of these bad guys and that that's beneath me as a man who names Jesus. But, you know, God mocks the wicked sometimes in scripture. And so we can too. So to heck with this dude.
Yes, he will be buried in the field of kings or something like that. I can't remember how that verse goes. John, what does it say again? Remind me.
It says that he was buried, but not in the tombs of David, and no one lamented his departure.
That is in fact correct. Listen, this isn't even a yard sale. This is a swap meet, ladies and gentlemen. This officer came in there with full intention on ending this guy, getting him the heck out of the fight. Listen, I don't feel bad for this guy one iota because he had every opportunity in the world to not carjack a car and then go on an absolute crime spree and be an absolute menace to South Central while drinking his juice in the hood. This guy had every chance in the world to not do what he did. And he didn't give up. And he shot a police officer in the head and didn't give up and didn't volunteer to maybe take a ride to jail. Instead, he chose this outcome. Now, John, you know, when I first saw this, I saw the other video, the cell phone video, we're going to talk about here in a moment, of the actual response when the police officers who were on foot then show up and see this guy laying there and what they did. And I think this needs a little bit of attention. I think a lot of people, to include the young lady, I think it was taking the video, were like, oh, what the heck? This guy's down. What are we doing? Why are we still shooting him? I think there's a really, really good reason for that I think isn't obvious to the casual observer. John, do you want to talk about that?
Well, listen, given the totality of the circumstances, right? So it's all about totality of the circumstances. It's about why did I shoot somebody? Not where did I shoot him, but why did I shoot him? And if we look at the totality of the circumstances here, again, this guy has been involved in multiple armed carjackings, multiple armed robberies. He has shot at officers multiple times, endangering the public and at officers. He has just shot a patrol sergeant in the head and gotten in a gun battle with him. And so, given that totality of the circumstances, this man is extraordinarily violent and extraordinarily dangerous to the public and to these officers. And so, therefore, I don't want people to look at this and say, well, John Correa said you can always just fill somebody in full of lead and have a firing squad on him. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, given the egregious nature of what he was doing, the egregious threat that he was, I think that them continuing to shoot at him here, given that incredible violence, is justified. Because again, we got to make sure this guy is no longer a threat. And so they really are what we would call anchor shots. They're anchoring this guy in place and making sure that the threat is ended. And quite frankly, I mean, I guess the most that you can charge these officers that you would think about that they did wrong is they desecrated a corpse. But given the totality of the circumstances, just absolutely making sure there's no way this guy can threaten officers or the public anymore, I don't have any problem with it. Although I will say, check your backstop, right? Make sure that your rounds are not going off into those two innocent cars. But Mike, again, that guy.
Yeah, I think we can kind of leave it there. I think we've said all we needed to say in this instance. John and I are both Christians. We both claim Jesus as our Lord and Savior, and we don't want to sound too terribly callous, but there is evil in the world, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't just, his mommy and daddy didn't hug him enough or whatever. This is a person who went out and made conscious decisions to victimize numerous people, to put numerous people's lives in jeopardy, to shoot at law enforcement, to threaten innocent people with guns. At the end of the day, what happened to him was his choice and his choice alone. These San Jose officers, especially that sergeant, were badass, covered their ass.